Hey guys, guess what we have here? It's the Samsung ATIV Smart PC Pro. This is the review I've been trying to do for the last 2 weeks, but has some personal travel things and stuff, so I'm finally getting to it now. Hopefully you guys will forgive me. I've been using it for the last 2 weeks, and I've come to certain conclusions that I'm going to share with you now. Let's get right to it. This is the Windows 8 interface, but we're going to skip all that and go straight to the desktop because all the programs we want to talk about is in x86 ROM. So there we go. Last time we were testing out the Atom version of this device, the ATIV Smart PC, and what we found is that it's really nice with really efficient and fast drawing apps, but it really struggled with Photoshop. And a lot of people were also wondering if the power of the Atom was also hampering the 1024 levels of pressure that this thing provides versus 256 levels of pressure that my Fujitsu T902 provides. So here's the control panel for the Wacom pen, and if somebody actually mentioned in the comments last time that the 1023 jump from 0 is somewhat abrupt here versus here the jump to 255 from 0 is gradual. Well, it's natural, isn't it? Because it's the same pen tip. The pressure levels, the granularity of it is being determined by the board underneath the LCD. The pen tip is the same. It's an analog device, and it just sends frequency to the board saying this is where I am in terms of how much pressure is being applied. Whether you divide it up into 256, 1024, it's way beyond your hand's control to feel the difference. Because when you press this down, the maximum travel is less than a millimeter. I don't know about you, but I cannot divide by my hand the feel of traveling less than a millimeter into 256 levels. I mean, I can't. To me, that's way more than enough. And to go from that to 1024, you're just slicing up that pie even thinner, and it's pointless. But, it's a marketing thing that Wacom wants to use. When they go from, say, Intuos 3 to 4, they went from 1024 to 2048, so you gotta upgrade, yada yada yada. Okay, well, if you're gonna fall for that, that's fine. But the reason Intuos 4 feels better than 3 isn't because of the increase in pressure levels, it's because they use a new tip assembly that starts to detect pressure sooner. So when all these mobile devices that Wacom makes digitizers for, they're using the same pen tip. So it doesn't really matter if you divide it up into 1024 or 256, it's all nonsense. It's going to feel exactly the same. The software will give you the same results as long as the hardware is equal in terms of power. Now, if it isn't, then you're going to have some interesting things that you might want to consider in terms of how the pressure is being applied. So let me show you something that might just put that whole argument on its head. We have Photoshop on both machines, same canvas size, and I'm going to use same brush settings to illustrate what I'm saying. So when people talk about lag-free painting in digital terms, they mostly concentrated on that sensor board, 1024 levels, maybe the hardware is not good enough, blah, blah, blah. I think there's two other things that you have to consider in that equation, which is software's sophistication and efficiency. And the third thing is the CPU power. What do I mean by that? Here we have a 1000 pixel airbrush on the 1.7 gigahertz Core i5 of the ATIV Smart PC Pro. Same brush, It's faster here, obviously. Now, because it is faster on my T902, I am able to interact with it in a more nuanced way, and I can do a better job of laying down subtle strokes with it, whereas with the way the Samsung's ATIV Smart PC Pro's CPU is struggling, it's really hard to be subtle with it because I can't interact with it. I have to do it, wait, hopefully it's what I wanted, but it's not. You're going to have to try to guess what my previous stroke was, which was a long time ago in terms of this sort of thing. Whereas here, I can be a little more interactive with it. I can, oh, that was not enough, so I'm going to put a little harder pressure. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. It's because the CPU power is struggling with the brush size, the arbitrary 1024 versus 256 doesn't even matter. You're at a disadvantage here because the CPU is struggling to process all that information versus here. Okay, so right now I want everybody to understand levels of pressure means nothing after you've gone past like 128 levels. It's nonsense. Okay, it's really about the combination of efficient and sophisticated software and the fluidity, the data that digitizer provides to the computer, and the power of the computer itself. In this case, 2.6 gigahertz Core i5 really makes a difference compared to the 1.7 gigahertz of the Core i5 in this Smart PC Pro. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that, 1000 pixel airbrush is not something they use all the time. So, for instance, when you got a 30 pixel brush that you want to sketch with, the Smart PC Pro does fairly well, right? Way better than the add-on version that we reviewed last time. That thing was just unusable. Here, it's not too bad, right? So, and I'm telling you, Photoshop is very demanding out of all the 2D programs that I've used. So, this is the worst case scenario on this Samsung ATIV Smart PC Pro, as far as drawing with a nice thin brush. If you use something like this is one of my favorite programs, the Paint Tool Sai, which has really sophisticated brushes. It's going to be much more fluid, much faster. This is 50 pixel brush right now. So let me make that smaller. It's 13 pixel brush. Look how fast and fluid that is. It's quite nice. So going from the add-on version to the Core i5, not only are you getting a much higher resolution screen, but you're getting beefy enough processor that you can actually use Photoshop for what you want to do in most of the cases. Obviously, if you go into big brushes, then you're going to really feel it's struggling. But sketching brushes with up to 50 brushes, 50 pixels wide, and many other programs, it would be a very nice experience. Look at this. It's perfectly fine. It's very fast, very smooth. This is 3400 by 2200 canvas size. Quite big. It's just that for ultimate full Photoshop experience, this form factor, this 2 pound 11-inch tablet is just not going to give you that power. So maybe this won't be the best machine for your only machine, but if it's your support machine, if it's your second machine that you want to draw on the screen with, and then you can go into a more powerful machine to do the rest of the work, I think this is a really nice scenario. Couple of things that I also want to mention about using this for, the increase in resolution. In fact, this is 1920 by 1080 on this 11.6 inch LCD versus this is 1600 by 900 on the 13.3. You would think that is an advantage because you can pack in more UI elements, and with that is nice. I don't know if you can tell here, but you know, I had to sort of scroll down to get some of the other elements here, whereas this is displaying the whole thing. See that it's missing that color wheel at the top. But to me, it's almost too fine. It's really hard to push some of the buttons in the UI elements, especially in Photoshop. If I were to try and, I don't know if you can see this. If I were to come here and try to change the opacity levels, oops, and I'm trying to move that, it's really a struggle to do all this little fine fiddly stuff because the resolution is so fine. So I almost wish that these 11-inch, 10 to 11-inch devices had something like 1600 by 900 LCD, and these 13.3 were the ones that's sporting the 1920 by 1080 LCDs. What else should I mention? Oh, a big important point about usage. The touch portion, the capacitive touch portion, and the pen for the T902 is both made by Wacom. Now what that means for us is that when you go to the control panel, you will find pen properties and, let me see if I can, here we go, touch settings in two separate things that you can control independently. Now, why is that important? Well, things like Sai, I have all these issues with it with touch on, where if I'm not careful, I can move the canvas by touching these little bars here. There's many things that it sort of annoys when you're trying to draw. Even with the Wacom's palm rejection by having two separate digitizers, unless you have the pen here first, I don't always approach the screen with the pen always first. Sometimes I rest my hand and then I use my pen. Well, that would definitely start marking with your palm. So I tend to turn off the touch when I'm working, which is easy enough with the T902. All I have to do is go into that touch settings that I showed you earlier and just disable touch and then keep working. On the Smart PC Pro, apparently the touch portion is not by Wacom but somebody else, which means that when you install the Wacom digitizer driver, you do get the pen settings, but there's nothing for the touch. So in order to turn that off, I think what I had to do was use something that Samsung provided to turn off the touch. But unfortunately, it makes you log off in order to turn it on and off, which is super annoying. Can you imagine just going into that process takes a long time, right? I mean, relatively, and it's not something that you want to do often. It's very annoying. So if you find yourself being annoyed by a touch portion of this and you want to turn it off, it's going to present some problems on the Smart PC Pro. Hopefully somebody will write some kind of script or some program that you can download that can quickly turn off CapTouch in a very easy manner, but for now that will be a problem here. Also, another problem I found is that the keyboard dock that came with it, the connector is always going in and out. So you hear ding dong indicating that the thing is now detached, attached, detached, attached. When you're trying to type, halfway through the sentence it'll detach and you can't do anything with it. Apparently it's not a rare problem. A lot of other people are complaining about that issue. So I'm not sure if it's just hardware design fault or driver, but it is annoying. other than that, it's a pretty nice machine. I really did enjoy it. I will personally not be getting this because I'm probably going to be sticking with my T902. I just enjoy that full power. But if, let's say, if you got a really powerful desktop and you want a laptop replacement that you can also draw with, this is a really nice machine. The only issue now is that the price is a bit high compared to, let's say, the Surface Pro that just got announced. Now, we don't know what digitizer they're using in the Surface Pro, but if it happens to be the same Wacom digitizer, then that's going to throw a whole different wrinkle into the equation. But for now, this is a really nice option for everyone to get. For $1,200, you get Core i5, nice high resolution LCD. You can use Photoshop with it. You can draw with it. It's only 2 pounds. Pretty nice. I think Samsung, if they adjust the price a little bit in the future, perhaps take out that keyboard and subtract $100 or so, I think they would do pretty nicely with the device, just as they have done with the S7 Slate. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and see you next time.